Sairam. Today we're going to study SQ3R and we're going to do some questions and some more grammar. So the first thing we'll look at is framing questions. And this is the question part of SQ3R. Baba has asked us to really study and know these subjects. So S stands for survey. So when we get a new assignment, for instance, we have framing questions, we survey the subject. And then we ask questions about the subject. What is this course what will this thing tell us? What do we want to know? So when we survey and we look at all the headings and what the subject matter is going to cover, and then we write out questions, okay? Then we've used our sight, okay, and our writing our question with the hands, with the heart, and then we know the subject much better. So framing questions is part of SQ3R. So questions are the most important part. So this next three portions that we're going to study are all about framing good questions. If you have a good question, you're more than halfway there to understanding the subject. So we have question tags is the first thing. This is when you ask a question and you want to know what the other person thinks about your observation. All right? These are very simple, fundamental questions. So we'll have an observation. For instance, we have a cold picture here. This is Moscow, and there's snow all over the place. And the lady is saying, or the person is saying, it's very cold. And she wants to get a response from you. So she adds a question tag, and she says, isn't it? All right? So she's taking the first two words, it is very cold, and she's shifting them around with a not in there. Is not it? So let's go to the second question. They didn't help her. All right? So she's looking at a situation where some people were helping one lady out. And she's asking, did they? So she's taking these two words, they didn't, and she's turning them around, did they? You'll notice that the not part of the question is in the first part. The question tag is in an affirmative. In the first case, we had the affirmative statement, is very cold, and then we ask the not part, isn't it? So during the question, you've got to have, isn't it, or not. Not has to be there. Let's go back. Shrujala is a sincere girl. She wants to know your opinion. Isn't she? Sujala is a sincere girl. Isn't she? And so she's asking your opinion. Do you agree with me? 4. Mrs. Patel donated generously. She gave 1,000 rupees to the church. And now, for the lady who's asking the question, this is a lot of money. So she's asking the other person, didn't she? Mrs. Patel donated generously, didn't she? So she's asking for an opinion. And that's what these question tags are, asking for your opinion on what she has already observed. Let's go ahead to some more questions. They knew Mr. Suleiman. And she goes, didn't they? She's not sure that they knew Mr. Suleiman, so she's asking that question. She's asking for a response. Number 6, the farmers have taken to organic gardening. There's a big movement over the whole world now to go to organic gardening, eating better food so we can think better and study better and know English better. And she's asking, haven't these farmers switched from chemical farming to organic farming? And she wants to know the other person's opinion. 7, the children spend more time on games. And we can see here a picture of organic gardening, and then we can see the children playing games. And they spend all their time playing games, if they could. The next one, I can't think of insulting my friend. Can I? So the first part has the not in there. I cannot think of insulting my friend. So when you ask the question, you have to say, can I? Not can't I. The not is already in the first part of the question. Let's go ahead and see some more examples. She loves her parents immensely, doesn't she? Is that the correct answer? Yes, she loves her parents immensely, doesn't she? I'm not going to give up. Now here the person is saying, I'm not going to give up, but she's a little unsure and she wants some support for her friend. So she goes, am I? Am I going to give up? It's a funny question, isn't it? But she wants some confirmation from the other person. The man's house was demolished. We have a picture of a house here. All the windows are demolished. The inside is demolished. And so the person who's asking the question says, the man's house was demolished. Wasn't it? So she's asking for another confirmation of this statement. Wasn't it demolished? And as you can see, it looks pretty demolished. The next sentence is, he brought a whole bunch of plants. Okay? He brought a whole bunch of plants. And then the question is, she asked, didn't he? Well, when somebody brings a whole bunch of plants, you can see it. But she's asking for more confirmation. Let's go ahead and see some more examples. Chaitan is the youngest magician in the world. Now we can see this young man, Chaitan, and he's flung out the cards, and out of the cards comes the ace of spades. So it looks like a good magic trick. And so he's saying, isn't he a good magician? So that's the question. Let's see if that's the right answer. Isn't he? Number 14 is, adventures fascinate you, don't they? So adventures fascinate the questioner, but she wants to know if the other person also gets fascinated. So let's see if that's the right answer. Yes. Don't they? Adventures fascinate you, don't they? Let's go back. There was a merry look in her eyes. She was very happy, had a merry look. And then she's asking, did you see that look? And she goes, wasn't there? Wasn't there a merry look? So these are the easy questions to ask, where you put a question tag. And questions, just to reiterate, are the most important part of your study. If you have a good question, it opens up your brain to get the answer. Our brains are incredibly powerful. So once we have the question, our brains are searching for the answer. For instance, we all know the story of Nachiketas. His father was performing a yagna, and he was giving away old cows at the end of the yagna. And so Nachiketas went to his father and said, hey, why are you giving old cows? You have to give good cows. And the father got irritated with him and sent him to Yama, the Lord of Death. So the boy, following his father's instructions, went there, but Yama was out collecting some other people. It took 3 days for Yama to come back. So Yama gave Nachiketas 3 boons. So during the 3 days that Nachiketas was waiting at the gate, he had time to think of good questions. And he asked the 3 best questions that he could have. And that's what we want to do. We want to take our time. We want to survey our data, survey the class in front of us, survey the article we're supposed to read or the chapter we're supposed to read. We survey it. And then we ask questions. And ideally, we write these questions out. And then as we read it, we'll get the answers to the questions. And our brains are ready to accept it. So let's go to the second type of questions. Second type of questions are framing questions using the form of do. So when you're teaching somebody, I'm teaching class, okay? That's in the present. If I have taught somebody, that's in the past. And if you're going to teach somebody, you can do that in the future. So does comes with the current time. If you're doing something now, I do something right now. If I did something in the past, did is the past tense. And to teach is to do. Do or does is in the present. So let's go to a couple of questions. The student thanked the teacher. So now in this particular exercise, we're supposed to change the sentences into questions using the right form of do. All right? So the student thanked the teacher. Then we have to come up with a question. That's the answer. So the question is, did the student thank the teacher? Is that right? Let's take a look. Did the student thank the teacher? Perfect. Let's go back. The second one is, Mary forgot to bring the library books. She was going to the library, but she forgot to bring her books that she had to return. So we have to form a question using the right form of do. So we say, she's already at the library. She forgot to bring the books. So we say, did Mary forget to bring the library books? Let's see if that's the right answer. Yes. Mary forgot. And now we're asking the question, did she forget? Okay, because she's here and she hasn't brought the books. But the question changes the forgot to forget because we're going back in time. Did she forget? She did forget. Let's go ahead. My neighbor taught English to school dropouts. So he's got a neighbor, there's a teacher, and he's teaching English to people that really know, they have to know English. English, especially in English-speaking countries, is a necessity. And it's a necessity for 2 billion people around the planet now. Everybody's learning English so that we can communicate better with other people. And she taught, or he taught, did my neighbor, we're not sure if it's a girl or a guy, teach English to school dropouts. So the question is, because he taught English, all right, the question is, did my neighbor teach English to school dropouts? Because we have taught, it's in the past. He taught, he may not be teaching now. Let's see if that's the right answer. Did my neighbor teach English to school dropouts? Did is the proper form of do. Next question. A stranger saved the man from drowning. This is in the past. He had jumped in, he risked his own life, but he saved the man from drowning. So the question we ask is, did a stranger save a man from drowning? We heard about the incident, but we want to make sure that's correct. So did a stranger save the man from drowning? A person that this person didn't know jumped in and risked his own life to save him from drowning. The mother prayed to the goddess to bless her family. We have a picture of a mother here sitting in a church. Here is Mother Mary, and she's praying to Mother Mary, okay, to bless her family. She's very sincere, and she's asking the goddess to bless her family. Let's see what the answer is. Did the mother pray to the goddess to bless her family? She'd already prayed, so the question is, did the mother pray to the goddess? So that's the right form of do. Let's go ahead. Number 6. Here we have a lion, and he's taking a nice rest, and a mouse comes, okay? So the lion woke up, and he caught the mouse. He grabbed him. Hey, what are you doing here? We don't know what he did with the mouse, but he was at the lion's disposal. So the question we ask, okay, this is after the fact, is, did the lion wake up and catch the mouse? Let's see if that's the right answer. Did the lion wake up and catch the mouse? Correct. Let's go back. He gave me a piece of advice. So this is in the past. He already gave it. The advice is already given. So the question we have to ask to fill in the blank here is, did he give you a piece of advice? Let's see if that's correct. Did he give you a piece of advice? He did. Let's go to number 8. The villagers found the wounded leopard. The villagers found the wounded leopard. There was a leopard who got out of a zoo, and he was wounded when he got out. And the villagers were looking for this leopard to put him back into the zoo. So the question we ask to the villagers is, did the villagers find the wounded leopard? We're not sure if they're still searching for him. So let's see if that's right. Did the villagers find the wounded leopard? If they've already found him, it's a done deal. We don't have to look any further. So let's go ahead and see if there's some more examples. Suddenly, the lights went out. So all of a sudden, the lights in a particular place went out. We have a picture of light bulbs. You can see beautiful colors. And all of a sudden, at this function, the lights went out. So then the person who's coming there said, did the lights go out suddenly? Let's see if that's the correct answer. Did the lights go out suddenly? Past tense of do, did. Next question. She learnt to read and write French. It's always nice to know a new language. you can communicate with more people. So we were asking a question, did she learn to read and write, friends? So that's our question. Did she learn to read and write French? So we need to have that information. Let's go back. The two brothers do a number of odd jobs to earn a living. Two brothers, this comes from a story that we'll read in our textbook. They did a lot of jobs to earn money to take care of their sister. And so we're asking the question, okay, do the two brothers, because they're still earning. It's not in the past, they're still earning money, okay? So we have the question, do the two brothers do a number of odd jobs to earn a living? So they're still working. So we use the present term of do, and so that's what they're doing. They're working hard to earn money. Let's go ahead. Number 12. Lucy wanted to become a singer. A lot of pretty girls, a lot of women, they love to become singing. And it's a beautiful quality to sing beautiful songs, especially higher songs, up to the Godhead. So she wanted to become a singer. So the question is, did Lucy want to become a singer? We want to know what she really wanted to do. So the answer is, did Lucia want to become a singer? Next one, Fred's father owned a ship. Fred's father was very wealthy, and his family loved boats and loved ships. But the question is, asked from somebody else, is did Fred's father own a ship? They want to know, just because he loved ships, did he own one? So let's see. Did Fred's father own a ship? And we have a picture of an old ship here. And these ships they're going right now. In fact, in 1987, they had all the tall ships from all over the world come to New York for the bicentennial. It was such a beautiful sight to see these old, beautiful ships. Let's look at the next question. Many children like to play cricket. And we can see a picture, look, they're playing cricket here. They're having a great time. So the question that we're asking, okay, is since they're already playing cricket right now, they played in the past, but they're playing now, they're probably playing in the future. Do many children like to play cricket? Well, the answer is for sure, in India, many children like to play cricket. Let's go back to the last question. She had peace and joy in her life. Here's a statement that she's making. But the questioner is asking, did she have peace and joy in her life? They wanted to know, where's this answer coming from? So the question is, did she have peace and joy in her life? And the answer is, she had peace and joy in her life. A beautiful question, a beautiful answer, and a beautiful place to be. Now there's a third level of questions we can ask. We can frame questions using what, why, where, when. All of these questions we're asking for specific answers. So we have to word the question properly. And we want to word the question so that we get the underlying words as the answer. Okay? So they're giving us the answer. We have to frame the question. So it's a little trickier. The first one, I'll give you an example. They sang songs to encourage the athletes. So sometimes you'll have a football player, a football game going on, and the cheerleaders will sing songs and chants, okay? Or in a basketball game, they'll sing songs. Any kind of sport, a lot of people will sing to encourage the athletes to put out their best. So the question is, why did they sing the songs? Because we want to get the answer to encourage the athletes. So why did they sing songs? And the answer is, they sang songs to encourage the athletes. Let's go to the next one. The mayor was trembling. So we want to know why the mayor was trembling. So what is our question? Our question is, who was trembling? Who was trembling? The mayor was trembling. So we've asked the right question. The third one is, the king collected more revenue by taxing his people. And we wanted to know how the king got this money, okay? So we have to ask the question, how did the king collect more revenue? And how did he do it? How did the king collect more revenue? He taxed his people more. He got more money from taxes. So we've asked the right question. Let's do a few more examples. Babu's wife found it very strange, okay? And we want to know whose wife found it very strange. So the question we ask is, whose wife found it very strange? The answer is here, Babu. So let's go ahead. Whose wife found it very strange? The answer is Babu's wife found it very strange. Number 5, Dr. Zakir Hussain was elected the president of India in 1967. And we want to know when he was elected president, okay? Because we're doing some research on India, okay? So our question is, when was Dr. Hussain elected the president? Let's see if that's correct. When was Dr. Hussain elected the president of India? In 1967 is the answer. So we've asked the right question. Let's go back. This is a very heavy question. The answer is, we become prejudiced against others because we know nothing of them. When we know about somebody, we know what their name is, we know about their family, we know where they went to school, we know their job, we know them. So we're not prejudiced against them. That's just who they are, okay? So anybody that you don't know about, you could have a prejudice. So that's what this question is trying to elicit from us. If we find out about people, we won't be prejudiced against them. So why are we prejudiced? That's the question, okay? And the answer is because we know nothing about them. Let's see if that's the right question. The question is, why do we become prejudiced against others? So from this question and answer, we are not going to be prejudiced against anybody until we find out about them. We're going to treat them as neutral, no matter what color they are, no matter what religion they are, no matter what country they're from. We're going to ask about them. We're going to be interested in them. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We're not going to be prejudiced against them. Let's go ahead to a few more examples. The question is, a book is the most astounding invention of man is the answer. So we're asking a question. What is the most astounding invention of man? And so we have to think about this. There's a lot of astounding inventions of man, but the book is the most astounding. Let's go back and see if we've got the right question. What is the most astonishing invention of man? And why is it the most astonishing invention of man? Because it's the only invention that extends our memory and our imagination. All the other things we have, microscopes extend our sight. We have something that will extend our hearing. We have hearing aids. Okay, we have hammers. We have tools that extend our arms. But the only thing that extends our memory, okay, is books and our imagination. With books, we can imagine we're any place. So let's look at the next question. A policeman was directing the traffic. That's the question. That's the answer we want to get. So what's the question? The question is, what was the policeman doing? The policeman was directing the traffic. And we can see here, the policeman, this fellow here is directing traffic. The other policemen are looking on. But one policeman was directing the traffic. Come on, let's move along. So next question. The World Heart Day is celebrated on 24th of September. World Heart Day is where all the world gets together. You can see the picture here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hands, 6 hands, all different colors, different shapes. Everybody's getting together to form a heart. And the question we want to ask is, when is it celebrated? So the question we ask is, when is World Heart Day celebrated? We have the answer already, on the 24th of September. Let's go ahead. Number 10. The answer is, you learn to write by continuous practice. So we're trying to learn how to write, okay? When we write, we engage our heart. We get to know the subject much better. So the question is, how do you learn how to write? How do you learn to write? You learn to write by continuous practice. The more you practice, the more beautiful your writing is, the more you know the subject. Let's go back. Number 11, scientific knowledge shows things how they really work. So if you want to do some kind of scientific study, okay, or understand about gravity, you look at science, okay? Science knows a lot about the practical universe, and it shows how things work in a physical way. So the question we ask is, what shows how things really work? So science shows how the physical universe works, but the spiritual universe works under spiritual laws. So we have to know those also. Let's go ahead. They went to the park yesterday. So we want to know where these people went yesterday. That's our question. So the question is, where did they go yesterday? Here we have a picture of the park. This is where they went. They sat here on this bench in the sunlight. They had a great time. And we have a picture of writing. Be creative. And so this person is writing, showing a nice idea that went on into their head. Learning how to write, practicing. So now we know how to ask questions. So we're going to ask the best questions to people that know. You only ask a question to somebody who's wise and has wisdom, and ideally the highest wisdom. Wisdom about all levels, all the physical knowledge and all the spiritual knowledge, because they will give you the truth. So now we come to the next section, which is error identification. No matter how hard we try, we can easily make an error in our writing. And then the person that sees that, they will not get the correct idea of what we're trying to convey. All of writing and reading and knowing English and studying the subject is to learn how to communicate. And we all know that communication with our fellow men and women is the most important thing. So we want to identify our errors right away and correct them. So in this particular set of questions we have, it says rectify the errors in the following sentences and rewrite them. So the first one we have is Nile is an longest river in the world. And we have a picture of the Nile River. This is at the beginning of the Nile River. When a river starts off, there's not much to it, okay? And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the Nile goes all the way up Africa. And this is just a little bit after it started. We have a boat, and it's going all the way up to the Mediterranean Sea on the Nile River. But they've made a mistake here. Nile is an longest river, all right? That's not the correct word. Let's see what the correct word is. Nile is the longest. Why? Okay? Longest. Okay, L is a consonant, but it sounds like longest, okay? Is the longest. Because we've identified Nile, Nile is the river, okay? We're not going to any river, we're going to the longest river in the world. So instead of an or a, all right, which is an indefinite article, we go to the, which is a specific article. So we have Nile is the longest river in the world. Let's go to number 2. The Invisible Man. It's a book, it's also a movie, is an interesting story. But it says here, is a interesting story. We go back to our rules. What are our rules? If we have a vowel here that sounds like a vowel, we have to use a. So we use Invisible Man is an interesting story, not a interesting story. When it's a consonant, then we use a. All right? An goes before a vowel, a goes before a consonant. Let's see if we're right. The Invisible Man is an interesting story. It sounds better, it flows better. It's the indefinite article an in front of a vowel. Let's go to the next question. A man built a river. A man built a house, and the house was on the banks of a river. But we have here, a man built a house, and a house was on the banks of the river. So we already identified, a man built a house. His house is on the bank of a river. So let's see if we're right. A man built a house. Now we know it's the man's house. It's identified. It's no longer indefinite. And the house was on the bank of a river. So we have the correct word here. This is the definite article. This is the indefinite article. Once we've identified the house, we use the for further talking about that house. Let's go ahead. Number 4. The man built a biggest building in the town. Hey, it doesn't sound right. The man built the biggest building in the town. We're talking about one building, the biggest building. We're not talking about a building, okay? If he said the man built a building in that town, that would be okay. But it's the biggest building. It's identified. It's specific, okay? So the correct answer would be the man built the biggest building in the town. We have a specific article here, not an indefinite article. Let's go to number 5. She pray every morning. Well, she is singular, okay? When you have singular, you pray. She prays, okay? One person is praying, prays. She prays every morning. So not pray is the plural. They pray every morning. Let's see if we're right. She prays every morning. And we have a picture for praying away. That's a very good habit to get into, praying every morning and every evening. Let's go back. Number 6. Dara was born at a village? Not right. Dara was born in a village. She was in the village. She wasn't at the village. She wasn't outside the village somewhere on the periphery. She was in the village when she was born. Let's see if we're right. Dara was born in the village. Perfect. Let's go to the next one. Children likes sweets. No, you see, a child likes sweets, okay? But children is plural, so we have to go children like. Let's see. Children like sweets. Correct. Let's go ahead. The women work from morning until evening. Okay? But that's not correct. A woman can work from morning till evening, but the woman works. All right? The woman works from morning until evening. It should be an S there. Women, plural, work from morning till evening, but not singular. The woman works with an S. Let's see. The woman works from morning until evening. Where was he born? And this one says where he was born. They have it backwards. Sometimes this will happen. You use the words in the incorrect flow, and it doesn't come across right. It's not the right thing to do. It's where was he born? Where was he born? Where he was born is not right. Let's go to number 10. My friend returned back from Mysore. And people do this. They go return and then back. They mean the same thing. So we don't need the word back in there. So my friend returned from Mysore. Why put back in there? It's using too many words to express the same thing. We have here the woman working from morning until night. And we have a picture of Mysore. This is the Kaveri River. Beautiful. Mother Kaveri. Now that we've identified the errors and we have the building blocks that we need, we can go into more advanced English. Okay? We can see the use of pronouns. Pronouns are a fantastic tool. We have here Basavaya, an example. He's a Kannada poet. And then instead of saying Basavaya again, you don't say Basavaya has written several poems. You just say he. It's so simple to use a pronoun because we know who we're talking about. We've already identified this Basavaya. He's a Kannada poet. But we don't have to say that repeatedly. We can use the pronoun he has written several poems. Many of his is also a pronoun that refers to Basavaya. And instead of saying many of Basavaya's poems have been translated into other English languages, we just say many of his poems. It's simpler, it's shorter, and we know what we're talking about. He himself has translated some of them into English. So he himself over here has translated some of these into English. Himself refers to himself, refers to Vasavaya. We know who he's talking about. So that's another pronoun that we can use. You must have observed that the words he, his, and himself, okay, refer to Vasavaya. Vasavaya is the noun, and he, his, and himself are pronouns. They refer back to the noun. Read the following extract and see how the personal pronouns refer to different people or things. And they give us an example. They say, Lata was on her refers back to Lata, annual visit to where? Her uncle. She goes to her uncle's place every year. Annual visit means every year. She always enjoyed it. What did she enjoy? It is a pronoun for her annual visit. Okay? Because she was allowed, she refers back to Lata. Okay? She was allowed to spend most of the day in the mango grove. Everybody knows mango is the king of fruits, and you can't eat enough mangoes. They're so fantastic. Lata's uncle was a friend of the owner of the grove, who allowed the children to play there. The branches of the trees were covered with so many fruits. Okay? They were covered with so many fruits that they, referring back to the fruits, okay, they almost touched the ground with the weight. Now that we have another they, okay, they spent hours. Now it's not the fruit spending hours, it's the children. We're referring back to Lata and her friends, okay? They spent hours picking the fruit, eating most of it, which refers back to the fruit, and sleeping. That was fun. Eating all the mangoes you want to and then taking a nap. There are many kinds of pronouns. Some of them are I, we, they, you, he, she, it. Okay? Myself, himself, herself, yourself, themselves, one, any, anyone, anybody, somebody, each, every, either, neither, who, whose, whom, which. Try to find other kinds. Well, we can find one right here, okay? Some of them. What is them? Okay? Them is a pronoun. They haven't listed it here. But they're referring, them refers to pronouns. So we have a perfect example of a pronoun being referred to itself. Them refers to the pronoun. It's a pronoun referring to the pronouns. So let's go ahead. Now they give us some exercises. They say, what do the words in italics in the following paragraphs refer to? This is our assignment. We have to look at the italicized words and see where it's referred to. See what those words are referring to. So we have the story. Once upon a time, a poor woman was walking from one village to another, carrying a bundle on her head. She's a poor lady. She has no bicycle. She has no motorcycle. She has no car. She has to carry the bundle on her head. So we have the first italicized word is her. Her is referring to the poor woman. Okay? Unable to lift it easily. What can't she lift it? Unable to lift it, they're talking about the bundle. She was walking from one village to another carrying a bundle. So she can't lift the bundle. It's a heavy bundle, but she has to get to the next village. She rested every now and then. It was hard work to carry this bundle. She refers back to the poor woman. Okay? We have She rested every now and then. She refers to the woman. A horseman came by on his horse. You can see the horseman here. He's got a strong horse. And she sees the horseman with all this space here, easy to put the bundle on. The woman requested who? Not the horse, requested the horseman, requested him to carry the bundle on horseback till the next village. But he's up there on the horse, and he refers to the horseman. He refused, saying, you, pointing to the old lady who had asked him, said, you will walk slowly and delay me, the horseman, and I'm the horseman, I have a long way to go. He's not going just to this village, he's going a long way. And if he goes slowly with this woman while she's clomping along, it's going to hold him back. And he had places to go. So he denied a chance to do some good for a lady. And it would have been paid back to him. Whenever you can help somebody and they ask you kindly, it's nice to offer your assistance. Let's go to the next example. Here we have a nice farm. And an old man came to this farm. The owner of the farm and his wife, the owner of the farm and his wife, his refers back to the owner of the farm, not the old man, His wife needed a person like him. Him refers to the old man. The old man came to the farm and they needed a person like the old man, He was well versed in agriculture. Why did they need him? Because he, the old man, knew about agriculture. He'd done his own farm. He was well versed. He, old man, was well versed in agriculture. After his arrival, whose arrival? The old man's arrival, After his refers back to the old man. After his arrival, their, T-H-E-I-R, their income, their refers to the owner of the farm and his wife. Their income. They got more income after the old man came. It improved dramatically. The owner became lethargic. He had so much money and he wasn't working, he became lazy, became lethargic, and shied away from hard work. His wife, whose wife? The owner of the farm and his wife, His wife, his refers back to the owner of the farm. His wife. His wife found this all very strange. She didn't know if the old man was an asset or a liability because now the husband wasn't acting properly. Her, referring again to the wife, his wife, her husband's lifestyle had changed dramatically and she was not happy about it. Let's go to another example. We have a bunch of crayons here. Came from a box. Every household holds those little things that look and feel old. After you use crayons for a while, they get smaller and they've been old and they lose their wrappers and everything. They look old and they feel old. And sometimes parents or brothers and sisters will just throw out these old things. As a kid, and that's the person who's writing this poem, writing this paragraph, I had several of them, all right? Who does I refer to? I refers to the speaker, the author of this poem. That's who I is. Several of them. I had several of them. Several of them. Them refers to the little things, That's the crayons. There's a tiny bag of unused crayons I bought when I was 4. I again refers to the speaker, all right? Dad believed in junking them. What did he want to junk? He wanted to junk those little things, the crayons. They were old. They were beat up. And they again, they almost ended up, the crayons are they almost ended up in the trash. But the boy saw this And he saved those crayons. Because why? Those crayons, they help me. Me refers to the boy, the speaker, I, okay? They help me to remember my childhood of dreams and vivid imagination. You can see he's got these beautiful colors. He did nice artwork with them. Those colors gave him a chance to be creative. And he enjoyed those crayons. He did not want his father to give them the pitch. Let's go ahead now. Hey, we have a new subject, pairs of words. What is beautiful about English is we have certain word pairs that go together. And people love to hear these things. And they're always used in the right way. All right? Pairs of words. The police had to use tear gas in order to, now which word do we use here? Disperse or disperse? We use to disperse the mob, okay? Disperse means to make the mob go away. Get them dispersed, quit from being a mob. Disperse means to give out money, all right? It's almost the opposite. And in this case, we want this pair of words, we want to use disperse. Let's see if that's right. The police had to use tear gas in order to disperse the mob. And you can see the picture there of the people with tear gas mask. And nobody likes tear gas, so the mob dispersed. The son asked for his parents, what? Assent for the marriage. The son saw a woman, wanted to get married, but he has to ask his parents. That's the proper way to do it. The parents have to check it out. Make sure that the other parents of the prospective bride are nice, and the families will fit together, the astrology is together. So many things go into a marriage, if the marriage is going to last. Spiritual truth has to be there. So the son asked his parents for assent. That's this word, not ascent. Ascent means to climb up, all right? But assent means cooperation and a blessing on the marriage. So the son asked his parents for assent for the marriage, for approval of the marriage. Number 3, why don't you, now somebody's talking to this boy, invest some money in a business venture? Invest means to put money into a venture. Divest means to take it out. So in this case, the question is, why don't you invest? Put some money into, because then maybe you'll get some money out. Let's see if that's correct. Why don't you invest some money in a business venture? The money's just sitting there. We should do something with it. Let's see some other pairs of words we can use. Chickenpox is, we all know chickenpox, okay? One person gets it and the rest of the family gets it. It's contagious. So let's see if that's the right answer. It's contagious. It's not chronic. It doesn't keep coming back. You get it, you're done with it, you don't get it again. Suresh is devoted to smoking or addicted to smoking. He may look like he's devoted to smoking because he smokes a lot, but he's addicted. He cannot stop. Addicted is the correct word. Suresh is addicted to smoking. The texture of the cloth is coarse or coarse. They sound alike, but they mean different words. You can see the picture of the cloth here. She's scrubbing a wall. So you need a cloth that is coarse to get the dirt and the spots off the wall. So she uses coarse, this one, C-O-A-R-S-E. Okay, a coarse cloth to clean the wall. Not a matter of course. A course is a path or a road that you will follow. You'll go on a course. Let's see if that's correct. Yes, the texture of the cloth is coarse, and that way you can do a nice cleaning job. Parents must regulate the habits of their children. That's the parent's job, is to steer the child and regulate their habits in a proper way. And because then the child can be like an arrow and be shot ahead as far as God wants them to go, if they have good habits. If they have bad habits, they'll be thinking about the world all the time and pleasures and things that aren't good for them. And they won't go as far as they could go. So that's the parent's job. They must regulate the habits, not customs. Customs has to do with society. And the parents have to make sure the child has good habits, has good discipline. Let's see if that's correct. Yes, parents must regulate the habits. Getting up early, keeping yourself clean, going to school, being sincere, being respectful to elders. That's the job. Let's go ahead. Can you read out on the grave, you can see these grave sites have words on them. They're called epitaphs, all right? So can you read the epitaph on the grave? We look at this one, can you read it? There's a cross here, and it shows his name. And he died in a war. That's the question. So the correct word is epitaph. E-P-I-T-A-P-H. Not epithet. Epithet is a short group of words to say something. But an epitaph is on a gravestone, okay? It's to say something for the future. And anybody that comes to this gravestone will know about this person. It's not just a simple statement. It's something profound. Let's go ahead. The cyclone, we all know what cyclones are. They're hurricanes in the west, cyclones in the east. Big swirls of wind blowing, causing many problems. But the cyclone in this case abated without any catastrophe. The two words are abated and abated. Abated means to help out. Abated means stop. So in this case, we have to use abated, which means stop. Let's see if we're right. The cyclone abated without causing any catastrophe, probably thanks to prayers the people had to close down this cyclone. Let's go to Columbus. Columbus, what did he do with America? He invented America? Not really. He discovered America. It took him 3 months to go across the Atlantic Ocean, and he discovered America in 1492 and started a whole area of Spanish domain in South America and Central America. Let's go to the next one. This is a monument belonging to, some monuments are new, some monuments are old, but this monument belonged to an ancient period. Ancient, okay, is very old, and that's the correct word. An old period is not exactly the best word to use. Ancient has a whole lot of other meanings to it. It means it's got some philosophy, beautiful things come to it. And we can see here the cyclone. This cyclone stopped and it didn't cause any problems. So we've done some nice learning about building blocks for your English language. And next class, we will start with phrasal verbs and show how these verbs come into action and make our writing and reading and understanding and communication very exciting and helpful for both the listener and the person that's doing the talking. Thank you for your kind attention. Om Shri Sai Ram.